I knew the moment her laughter changed. It wasn't the way she used to laugh, with that soft, unguarded warmth that used to pull me closer. It was louder now, sharper, like she wanted someone else to hear it. That someone was standing right beside her. His name was Daniel. I'd met him once. My wife introduced him as her business mentor. That night at the party, he looked at her like she was already his. And when his hand brushed against her back, she didn't move away. She leaned in. I just stood there, holding my drink, watching the reflection of my own face in the glass. Calm, still, a volcano pretending to be a mountain. When the night ended, I went to get the car. She said she'd meet me outside. 15 minutes passed, then 30. Then the valet handed me a folded dollar bill, said a man told him to give it to me. The note scrawled on it read, "I'll take good care of her tonight." My hand didn't shake, not once. But inside, something went quiet. Pain, rage, disbelief, all of it froze into something harder, something that would wait. The next morning, she came home smelling of expensive cologne and guilt. Her hair was messy, her excuses were clean. She talked too much, about how her phone had died, how she stayed with a friend, how I was overreacting. I didn't interrupt, I just nodded, watching her lips move while her eyes refused to meet mine. That's when I knew for sure. It wasn't the scent, or the lies. It was the way she looked relieved that I didn't ask too many questions. Relief is the emotion of someone who's been caught but not punished. I started documenting everything. The times she left, the calls she took in another room, the messages she deleted before dinner. It wasn't about jealousy anymore. It was about confirmation, facts, patterns, proof. I traced Daniel's name through her work calendar, found his number, his company, his address. He wasn't just rich, he was reckless. Married twice, both ending with mutual settlements. He had a pattern too. Collect, use, discard. My wife thought she was the exception. She was just next in line. 3 weeks later, I had what I needed. Photos, messages, audio recordings of midnight calls. Enough to crush her facade in seconds. But I didn't. Not yet. I waited for the perfect moment. Daniel's company was hosting a fundraiser. Same venue where that dollar bill humiliated me. Poetic, in a way. I offered to drive her there. She agreed, hesitantly. She wore the same perfume she'd worn the night she disappeared. Funny how the smell of betrayal becomes easier to recognize than love. When we arrived, Daniel greeted us with his usual smirk. He shook my hand like he'd already won. And as we stood there, he whispered, "Still married to her? Brave man." I smiled. Not for long. He didn't get it. Not yet. That night, while they disappeared into their little corner of the ballroom, I slipped out, went home, changed the locks, disconnected her car from the gate remote, transferred our shared funds, legally, strategically. By morning, the house was quiet, peaceful, empty. When she arrived, her key didn't fit the door. She knocked, then banged, then shouted my name like it still had power. I opened the door halfway. She looked terrified, not guilty anymore, terrified. "Why would you do this?" she whispered. I handed her a small envelope. Inside were copies of her messages, her call logs, and the dollar bill. "I'm giving you what you earned," I said. "Freedom." Her phone rang before she could respond. Daniel. She answered it right there on the porch. The sound of his voice came through loud enough for me to hear. "You didn't tell me your husband is the majority investor in my company? What the hell did you do?" Her face drained of color. That's when she realized the truth. I hadn't just watched, I'd planned. She begged, she cried. She said it wasn't love, it was confusion. I didn't care. Because betrayal doesn't deserve an explanation, only consequences. I closed the door while she was still talking. Her words dissolved into the wood, muffled and meaningless. Inside, the house finally felt like mine again. Silent, controlled. I poured myself a drink and looked at the dollar bill on the table. folded it once, then twice, then dropped it into the fire. As it burned, I realized something strange. I didn't feel triumphant, not even angry, just done. She wanted wealth. He wanted power. They both got a lesson instead. And me? I got peace. The kind that comes when you stop bleeding and start healing. Some people think revenge is about getting even. It's not. It's about reclaiming control. And when the lock turned and her key no longer fit, so did she.